I'm Susan Dobson. I'm a painter and printmaker. My work is mostly about the mountains, both in the Lake District, Scotland, the Alps and the Himalayas. I've had this studio for just over 4 years now, and that was a really big leap in becoming a professional painter. I either make oil paintings from sketches that I've done out in the field, or I make prints of various kinds. When I was first starting up my business, I'd made some photo etchings of Hadrian's Wall, which proved very successful with tourists and visitors to the studio. And I suddenly realised that I was running out of them because a photo etching plate is quite a delicate thing. And you don't get huge editions from them. And that was the point where I wondered about actually scanning them and producing them digitally. And so I researched the inks that were on the market then and the printers that were around. And I set myself up with an Epson printer using archival inks. I often scan original pieces of work, which I then produce as giclée prints. Giclées are basically digital prints produced on an inkjet printer. You know, a lot of these inks claim to be light fast for up to 100 years. So the technology's had a mega shift from computer prints that we used to make a few years ago that would fade within a few months if they were exposed to light. And I was able to produce these images at a price that was much more competitive for the tourist market, and I sell those online. When I got this studio and things went up a notch, I decided that I would apply for a cultural business venture grant, and one of the aims of that was to develop my own personal website. And I did that, and that allowed me to go into a lot more detail about the kinds of techniques I use, how I go about gathering material. And it also, just last November, allowed me to set up a buy online facility for my giclée prints, of which I now have a much wider range than I did originally. At the point when I was talking to my designer about my website, we'd acquired Big Red, and it was in the process of being converted. And in discussion, we suddenly realised that this would be a really good way of hopefully drawing people in so that they would want to find out where I'd been next with Big Red. So he said, "Oh, I know a way of doing that. We can do it as a weblog, and you can upload your own photographs, and keep it up to date and keep, adding to it as and when." So that's what we did. You suddenly realise that you actually understand quite a lot about how the whole internet works. It's quite surprising sometimes what you know, especially sometimes when you're talking to people and you think, "Oh, actually I know more than you." The email's very important, yes. People from London who are maybe passing through on their way to Scotland see my work and find out where the studio is and email me and come and see me. I've had someone in Canada had seen the Robin Hood tree print that I do, which is so universal in appeal, it's incredible. She Googled me and contacted me to ask me to send a print over to Canada. That's the beauty of the website. Anyone, anywhere can see the work that you're doing. I am in the process at the moment of marketing my website. I think that's my next strategy. So I've acquired several web addresses which all come back to me. So the one I'm marketing at the moment is mountainpaintings.co.uk, which I've put in the Summit magazine, which is the British Mountaineering Council members magazine, and the Scottish Mountaineering magazine. And I think from looking at my stats that when they appear, there's a rise in people accessing the website. I think these days you need a website, not necessarily for selling online, but you need to, I mean, as an artist, as a visual artist, you need to be able to say to galleries and to anyone who might want to sell your work for you, well, you can go online and see what I do. It saves all that paraphernalia, palaver of printing out images, getting slides together as you used to have to. You can just put everything on a CD, post it off, give them your website address as well, and they can find out anything they need to know about you. And I've certainly got exhibitions. I've got one in Perth coming up that I got through sending that information in that form to the gallery owner. You know. So I would just not hesitate at all. I think these days people expect you to have a website.